making it make the noise and then just leave the throttle at that point. Don't go past it. So it makes the noise for as long as possible. Welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60. Now this is part 2 of the wicked MR2. So Dave, we've just finished filming a much faster 0 to 60 test than we ever thought we would in a 160 horsepower vehicle.
Hell yeah.
She hooked up, she shifted, and quite impressive. In fact,
well, it's now quick. That thing's quicker off the line than a lot of really powerful cars we've had on the channel.
Yeah.
Due to the way how efficiently it puts its power down, and being so light, maybe it must help it as well.
Now we did say at the end of that video we're going to do a bit more of an in-depth review into the build on this car, the spec on it, and what you get when you're dealing with it's 30 years old, this car.
That's incredible.
30-year-old classic with a bit more power than it's supposed to have. So let's have a bit of a look at what it is, Dave. So it's an 87
AW11
MR2.
MR2.
Now these were originally spec'd with well actually they could come supercharged or NA.
That's a giveaway that would normally be a giveaway. It's a supercharged car, but
it's got the vents.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Woody said it's not supposed to be. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's got the different.
It's got the different
latches. Yeah, so it wasn't even a supercharged car to start with. So it would have just been a 16 valve 4AGE, probably 115 horsepower or something at the fly.
Yes.
So. Yeah, I think he acquired it and it already had the blacktop 20 valve in it.
Yes.
But as you know, if you have been watching their channel, they have gone through the entire motor, they've done everything. The heads, put some nice Kelford cams in it, I think a 270-degree cams up the top. Nothing crazy, which...
Actually, let's have a look at the engine while we're talking about it.
Pop the hood. Got this little latch here. Actually, we should probably haven't even mentioned that it is a mid-engine, which is why he keeps referring to it as a poor man's Ferrari. But
to be fair, we've been in it for a couple of hours now and everybody looks at you.
It's incredible. It does look really good in this red. It's a nice, lovely day. It sounds awesome. People are breaking necks to look at it, which is bloody fantastic for such an old car.
Now, if you guys haven't seen, if by chance you haven't seen the build series on this car, we will put a link up in the corner. However, they have done nearly a full rebuild on the car. It's had a lot of engine work done, obviously. He changed the wheels, painted engine bays. He was planning on painting the whole body, but with the help of a local detailer, it's actually come up really good. Yeah. So he's in two minds about whether it's worth it. But the spec on the engine, so he's pretty much had a full rebuild, hasn't it? And as you said, it's got the Kelford cams. It's now running a Haltech 750 Elite.
Yeah, which actually, a pretty cool looking ECU. I think we've got a camera bag in the back as well. But look at the size of that ECU. It's tiny.
So it is the Haltech 750 Elite. Obviously it's got the wideband sensor, which is much safer than the original things that these used to run. Actually with these, yeah, they would have been fuel injected. It's 87.
Yeah.
And now he is also running the Go Fast Bits fuel pressure regulator and a Haltech Flex fuel system. And the car's actually, he's just come off the dyno yesterday and he was running full E85, but he has now got some pump fuel mixed in with it, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's also a oil cooler up here, if you can see that, and there is a hole in the side of the engine bay with a vent here, so that oil cooler is getting some fresh air as well. It's bloody awesome. Obviously, you would have spotted it already, the 4 throttle bodies, which is just fantastic. And even with this foam, obviously it is just a foam filter, but it sounds like there is no filter. The induction is so crisp, so clear.
It's got to be one of the big things that draw people to these motors, the way they scream with the 20 valve and no throttle bodies.
Now, after driving it for the 0 to 60 runs, I can see why Al didn't want to throw boost at it.
It's definitely quick enough. If you can keep it up in the rev range, it's got more than enough power for, and it's just over a ton or just under a ton?
Just over a ton, yeah. And there's nothing else would have added much weight to it. So I guess by keeping it nice and light, even the supercharged ones, they were a little bit heavier. Like surprisingly heavier, I think, because obviously they had the supercharger and they had some sort of intercooler on them as well. So I guess all those bits and pieces added up. So by keeping it naturally aspirated, it's
kept the weight down.
Yeah, and keeping it pure.
Now it is sitting on BC coilovers, and Woody did say he's recently put some EBC pads in it just to help with the stopping power, because he did intend on doing a track day or two.
Yeah, he is on some fresh rubber, but the looks of this thing, it looks sick. And that's why I guess that's why people are snapping their necks. Once they see it, they want to go, what is that? It starts pretty damn aggressively.
It's obviously got the over fenders on, which were not factory.
but with these massively dished wheels as well. And yeah, Woody was saying they are genuine work equips.
That's pretty crazy.
So yeah, he's
They're probably worth
messing
more than
about.
my car. Exterior-wise, he hasn't done a lot of modifications to it himself. The over fenders were already on it. He did choose to put the wheels on, and he's trying to keep it that 80s retro classic vibe going.
I was going to say to show you just how small and compact the car is. They're 14-inch wheels, but they look quite big, don't they?
They're the right size wheels.
And
14.
speaking of the looks, have you got the key?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, don't need the key. Don't need it. Pop-ups. Pop-up headlights.
How much more 80s could you get?
The interior.
Well, he's done the right thing here. It has got a different steering wheel. I don't know if he's done that, but most of the interior is pretty standard. He's not filled it with any crazy aftermarket carbon fibre or any horrific modern amenities. It is missing a gear boot. I'm not sure what his final plans are with that, but it has also got the short shift room, which feels nice. It does have the race seat, and to be fair, you can't blame him. The original seats are not designed to be cornering at the speed that this thing will now corner at.
100%, yeah, and that thing was actually really comfortable as well for me anyway. He's done well, which keeps it still looks and feels original, just a little bit better.
I think, Dave, we need to take it for a drive.
You need to take it for a drive.
I haven't driven it yet. All right, let's go for a spin. Sounds good.
It sounds so good. I reckon on the passenger side here, I'm actually maybe getting even more noise than from the driver's side.
You could be right, actually.
It's just like,
it's because it's got the vent on that side.
Ah, it just comes straight into your ear.
So initial impressions, as soon as I got in the car, the clutch is definitely not the standard clutch. It's super soft. It's not. It's not a hard clutch, but it bites.
It was on those launches. It was really like obviously it's not our car, so I wasn't going too crazy, but it felt really good. Even to get into the 6-second barrier on that last run, nothing felt like it was under stress.
Nothing slipped. It just hooked.
Wasn't getting warm. It just felt really bloody good.
It's really blown me away with this time. We'll stop talking about it soon, guys. But second thing I've noticed, we do seem to have an offset driving position. Now that is something that was much more common in vehicles 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm already starting to get used to it, but it did feel a little bit weird. Even though it doesn't have power steering, it's pretty easy to steer, especially at slow speeds. That noise. Whoa. Oh, that is magical.
Yes. That's definitely the best thing about the car, is that noise.
Oh, I can't even think. That was amazing.
It's not breakneck quick, but it's not
speed
slow.
you can enjoy as well. Like,
That's the
we
thing.
accelerated for more than 2 seconds in, and we weren't braking the speed.
Yeah, you can't do that in your car, but you enjoy it for longer without losing your license. It's awesome. It's built as such a good package.
Now, although it is an old car, they were relatively well equipped for a vehicle in the 80s. It has got central locking, power windows, and something I couldn't live without, air conditioning.
Air conditioning.
So, you know what, it's the sort of thing that you wouldn't, I don't know if I'd want to daily this sort of thing anymore. I probably could.
You could, but yeah, I think you'd keep it as a weekend thrasher.
And it wouldn't matter what the weather was doing. You'd go out and you'll enjoy it anyway. Because if it's wet, it's not too powerful. You can go and have some fun and enjoy the power in the wet. If it's hot, close the windows, aircon on. Now, the spec on this engine, we'll put a link to the Skid Factory video where they assembled it so you can see everything. But it's not been built as a crazy... He's not like chasing mad horsepower. It's a reliability type build. But he is running it on the 85 and it has got a custom tune on it, obviously. It's not... Look, I don't want to be negative about it, but it's definitely not a torquey motor. You need to get it revving, much like the S2000 engine.
Well, I'd say it's okay. Actually, there was a lot of similarities between this and the S2000 in the way they drove.
Yeah,
but this definitely has more torque than the Honda. Wow,
just revs forever,
and then some more.
Yeah, our channel's definitely been filled, especially in the last couple of months, with ridiculously fast turbo cars. And yes, they are super fun and they'll always put a smile on your face. But when it's just you driving on the weekend and you want to go for a few hours, something like this gives you more excitement, I think.
It's good to get in it because you can actually drive it. You can spend a little bit longer on the throttle. You've got a manual gearbox to row through the gears and make that induction noise.
I am literally changing gear for the sake of changing gear. I don't know if you've noticed. It's nice to have 3 pedals. It's nice to have to blip the clutch on the downshift.
Yeah. Oh, and also the interior, it feels kind of actually, what's weird from the passenger seat, it feels quite big.
Yeah, I felt that. You were saying how small it was. It feels like you get that cockpit 80s feel. Actually, 90s JDM cars really took that cockpit feel to the next level.
It is, isn't it? Looking over there, your space is much smaller than here. So that's good. It's actually relatively comfortable over here, especially with the stock seat.
It instantly feels nimble. Like the front, the way it turns, it's egging me on to drive faster.
It's got to come down to how small this thing is, how compact it is, but also just how light it is. This at just over 1,000 kilos, that makes the Evo 6 look like an elephant.
Yeah.
Not many cars can do that.
This noise. Oh, I'm not flat out, but that sounds good.
It is fast enough, hey? It is fast enough.
I almost like making it make the noise and then just leave the throttle at that point. Don't go past it. So it makes the noise for as long as possible.
Oh, it's so good on these back roads too.
This is... We don't really have B roads in Australia, but if we did, this is a B road basher. Every time you accelerate under load, you get that noise. It makes you feel special, regardless of what speed you're going. It feels like you're going fast.
Yeah, and due to its lightness, it's changing directions through these sweeping corners, left and right. It's nice and easy. You can wash speed off nicely, jump on the throttle again, and get that noise.
Another way to look at it, actually, 3 years ago we tested an 80s model RX-7. That car did have quite big power.
Yeah.
But it was a very similar feel to drive. It felt quite direct. This feels more direct. The RX-7 would have been a heavier vehicle.
Similar styling even, especially the interior. Similar shapes on the dash.
But now those RX-7s have shot up in value. And I think these MR2s, which haven't had enough love in the last 10, 15 years, they were never...
Maybe not this generation.
Exactly. And it's a shame because I think these are nicer to drive than the newer ones.
Do you reckon?
Well, they're lighter.
Yeah, so, I do like the next gen with the 3S GTEs, but I'm really surprised at how much fun this car has been in today.
Its compact size definitely creates a package that gives you a sensation of speed that you shouldn't be getting.
Yeah.
All right, look, the drive has been awesome. We've had this car for a few hours now. We really need to take it back to its rightful owner.
Do you reckon he'll mind if we just keep it for a bit longer?
Knowing Ben, he probably would let us. He's such a nice dude.
He is. How about we end the video then with just some awesome 4GE 20 valve noises?
I'll give that a thumbs up.
Let's do it.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Those BDA escorts that we like?
Yes.